In this episode, we're going to make the entirety of the wave part. We're going to add the beautiful design and also some particles and some small movements here and there. So now the wave part. The wave part is going to have slopes. So what I would suggest, this is a very cool thing that came out with update 2.2 that you can use to make anything into a slope object. Now you could use these ones if you feel like it, and you can really just search for any block you want and do a little experiment with the block design. Maybe something like that would look pretty cool. And I kind of feel like these ones are good. I might actually use them, but I just want to quickly show you something that you can do to bring any block design into a wavy block design. So let's say, for example, I'm going to grab this one, put it in here. I'm going to grab this one alongside it, delete this one, and bring them all over here. So let's say this was your design and you kind of want to make it a wavy. So you kind of want to make it like a slope, but there isn't really a slope for these ones. So what could you do? What you can do, which isn't the perfect solution, but it's a very nice and very sneaky solution. So let's say this was your thing and you want to kind of make it into a slope. So what you can do is go to the warping system, do this, put this guy right over there and kind of make it go up. And as you guys can see, we have created a slope, which looks kind of cool. Like that looks pretty excellent. And if we just do, what you can do for the bottom part is you could just fill it in normally and then do that. And then this is how it would look. And then you would do this because we're going to have twice. And you could delete that, delete this, and copy and paste it twice. So right now we have literally made a wave thingy using these guys, and the particles, you could do the same thing with them, and this actually doesn't look that bad. And we're going to try to do the same with these guys. However, I'm not too sure if it's going to work as well, but we can just give it a try. So warping system, make sure you move this guy to the very left and then move this up like so. And the reason why this wouldn't look that good is because it's a checkerboard and we are actually copying and pasting this one and kind of flipping it. So it would lead to this weird thing, which you could fix if I think if you do it like so, you would do that. This way, yeah, the checkerboard now just remains just like it is. And yeah, this is also not looking that bad. However, you can't really fit it in just like we did in here. Yeah, it's really all depends on your design and how much you like it and how much it could fit your desired design at the end. So this one kinda looks too good. I might actually use it, but the thing is, let me see, how would this one look if it was over here? So I'm just gonna do a small, visualization test by doing something like that. And now we do maybe something like this and then delete these guys, copy and paste, and do something like that. This doesn't look that bad. And maybe what we can do other than that is we can copy and paste. Actually, I think I'm already making the design at this point. So what we're gonna do is what are we gonna do? We're gonna copy all of this, make it on top, and then we're gonna make it a very like a black and white like that. We're going to select all of these things and we're going to make them into black and white, kind of like that. Maybe this one goes a bit darker, would be cooler. And now, of course, what's important is for you to change the colors of this one to kind of fit it perfectly like that. Is, yeah, I think, is that good? Let me see. So maybe a bit more, a bit less, a bit more. Okay, I don't think there's a perfect value. So let's just go with that. And now we can move everything downwards and we can select these guys and go in here, make them very dark like so. And now if you place this on top, because we made it on top, it could look like a potential block design if you want to. It doesn't look that great, but it's something. You can experiment with it a bit more to come up with a cooler design. And I'm just going to go ahead and try out some just random ideas. I'm just going to see if something could work out. So what I'm thinking of is kind of adding like an arrow in the center of every one of these blocks. So maybe something like this. I'm just building my own arrow right now. And what I'm thinking of something like approximately like this. And I'm going to cover this square like that because I don't want it to look too bad. And this one, we don't want to have any weird overlapping or any weird stuff in here. So like that should work. Boom, 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 boom. Like so. Clean looking. And now what we're gonna do is we might actually... Okay, I have a good idea for this one. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna first of all fill it in with a color. So we're gonna use white in this case, and we're gonna use that one block to fill in all of these guys. And we're gonna make sure that this is on T2 and this one is on T1, and this is could be random, doesn't really matter. And now we have to move this a bit to here, I think. Let me see. So how do we make sure this doesn't interact in here? Like that should work pretty good. Yes, like so. And maybe we can add a bit more shading on top of this one to just make it look slightly better. We can do maybe something like that. And then we can add this one on top and copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. And to fill in the top corner, I'm gonna just do this and then move it over there. Gonna make it copy the state as well. Go in there, make it like a 2.0 or something, move it down. And I'm gonna leave like a nice little gap there so that we can use like the color red, and it kind of feels like there's like an arrow, like so. So this is very nice, and if we add this on top, you guys can see it doesn't look that good. This is because the white color, we still are yet to choose this one, and I'm gonna show you something very interesting in here. If you only want to select the objects that have the color channel of 1, what you can do is click on 3, go to this delete tab, and then click on here, add 1 in here, the color channel 1, make sure the select filter is on. Now everything you select is going to have the color channel of 1. And that is perfect, exactly what we want. We're going to give them a new color, 31. Make sure we go onto none. And now we can go ahead and make this the desired color. So maybe something like that. And if this red could go a bit like, maybe if you add another one and make that one white, it would look a lot cleaner. Okay, so I actually decided to change the design because I wasn't too happy with it. And I'm going to show you how I did it. And I actually decided to take a whole day as a break because I just didn't feel like I had any ideas, and this is something that I do usually when I just am out of ideas, just so that I don't make anything bad. Just like you saw, the arrow at the beginning didn't really look that great, and yeah, as a result, I just decided to take a nice little break so that I don't, break the level, right? We don't want to do that. We want to create a cool level. So I'm going to show you exactly how I made this arrow. So the first thing is, of course, we made this one last time. But instead of actually adding some weird colors on it, I decided to, of course, add a black outline outside of it. And the way you can do that is there are actually 2 ways. So the first thing is basically just doing this, which is simply gonna make, just filling this from the outside using the provided blocks. And then here comes the trick. So you could either use these guys and flip this like that, and let me just enable my keyboard thing like that. So then we want to flip it, and then over here you want to add this one, rotate it on 45 degrees, and kind of just put it in here like that. Or what you could do is get rid of all of this and use the warping system. So the warping system, if you click on here, we select both of them, we put them over there. This is actually very sneaky. You put that line over there, and then you drag this all the way down. And as you guys can see, we have created a nice little, glowy thing. However, you guys will see that the strength of it isn't really fitting. So we have this one, which was made using the warping system, and then we have that one, which was made using the normal slopes. And you can choose which one you can go for. I think I'm going to go with this one because first, it's less objects, and second of all, it doesn't really matter that we have this weird, edge over there, because yeah, this is black on top of like really dark color, so you wouldn't really be able to see it. So now if we delete everything we have made for testing and put this right over there, you guys will see that we have a nice little glow. And this is how it looks so far. And I also decided to add this glow. So basically just add this one like so, move it to the center over here like that, and then make it like so, make it on top of everything like that, and then bring this point downwards like that, and then just scale it up, maybe a little bit like that. and it looks a lot cleaner. I'm going to use this one because I've made it before, but it looks exactly the same. And just a little shadow from here and there using these objects over here. We add this one over there just to kind of fill in the corners. That makes it look a lot better. And with that, we have a beautiful arrow. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put this on a new editor layer too. For later, we're going to move it. We're going to move the arrow. And then we have these ones, which I made using these specific blocks over here. So if we add it, rotate it, and then add another one, rotate it as well. And then we kind of just move it like that. You guys are going to see that we're going to get a nice little something. And then you can just, you know, flip it over there and put it on there. And for this one, I added it over there like so. And then what I did was copy and paste and rotate it around 45-degree angle, and then something like this, and then copy and paste it and put it over there. Just make sure that the distance between the glow and the block is the same throughout this whole thing. And this one I believe should be a bit moved up like so, and like that should be clean. And I'm actually gonna use the old ones as well here, like that. And with that done, we have an arrow. We're just gonna make sure that these things are also on layer 17, so that all this arrow is on that layer. And now we can put it over there, and you guys can see that this does not look bad at all. And then I also decided to add this, you know, the structure that we made using this one. I decided to completely make it black by going to edit object and then base and detail, go to color 4, and then I can just put it on top and then also make it behind the glow so that you can still see the glow, and kind of moving it downwards like that would be pretty good. And yeah, so this is how it looks pretty good. And you guys will see that actually, no, I'm gonna leave them. I was about to delete these ones, but they actually are visible in here, so deleting them would kind of ruin that. So yeah, now we have a structure. It is time to copy and paste. And I'm not gonna add the particles yet, because as you guys can see, we still have to add these particles, but I'm gonna do that later. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, copy and paste this throughout this whole part. So the first thing is, of course, make a reserve over here, and then I'm going to copy and paste that one, and then go absolutely crazy mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to copy and paste this one, and if it kind of like overlaps like so, I'm just going to delete this whole layer over there so that we can fix it later. And for stuff like that, what you want to do is simply delete everything that is intersecting. And over here, I feel like this one, if we delete it, and as you guys can see, it is perfectly connecting like so. Exactly what we want. Okay, so this one, we can again copy that one and then put it over there, snap it, do that, looks pretty nice, and copy and paste. And over here, we're going to delete these ones, and like that, looks clean. And as well as these guys have to be deleted also. And yeah, this does not look bad at all. And now over here, what we want to do is we actually want to do this and then bring the arrow kind of up so that we can just control these ones. And then we want to move this to the exact position of that one, like so. And then we want to grab, what do we want to do now? Now we want to just grab one of these guys. Actually, I'm going to take it from this block because we already built it and the color is also perfectly matching. I'm going to paste it in here and kind of make like a snapping thingy, and now I can just do this, and these ones are actually not snapping on the grid block because otherwise they should be kind of like on it, but I don't know why they're not. I feel like you just have to manually move them, which isn't an issue. I mean, they still kind of, yeah, like that. Actually, there is like a small issue which kind of isn't that very cool. Yeah, like that, like that works pretty good. And now, of course, we're gonna have to copy and paste this throughout the whole part, and then we just want to fill in the rest of these guys. And of course, we can't forget this one that we added, and we can actually add this using I don't know, there are multiple methods in which you can do this. You, for example, just do something like that and then just copy and paste it because it's all going to be black, and then kind of like align them all on the X, copy paste state color over here, and as you guys can see, we have a platform. This is perfect. Now we can just drag it down here. Just gonna make sure to delete, I believe, these guys. These ones go away, and those ones also go away. Now, it doesn't really matter if you like delete stuff or something, like, because we're gonna, like, this is very unfinished stuff, so we're gonna get back to that as well later. And as you guys can see, there's like a weird edge thingy in here where it just doesn't fit anymore. And the reason for that is because we have snapped them. So what we're gonna have to do is select everything in here and kind of manually move it up a little bit. And yeah, like that looks clean. However, there are still some issues because this line doesn't really connect it. And now I'm kind of getting worried because what is going on over here? I'm just gonna select these guys, move them up by a lot, and then I'm gonna go ahead and select those ones because they are connected. And then I'm gonna try to snap them, and it seems like there's an issue with the snapping because the game can't really register on which, like where the, what's it called? The base object is going to be. So the game kind of just guesses and it always gets it wrong. So now if we do that, it should be much, much better. Now we just have to, because we selected the slopes, there were also slopes in this like arrow. So we're going to actually have to move them again back like that. And now you guys can see that this is starting to look pretty nice. And this one, of course, we're going to get rid of, copy and paste that one. Can I move it like so? And clean. They are connecting each other. And this is how I like to do the wave. Can I make like a very smooth platform going from beginning all the way being connected to the end? This way it just looks a lot better. And this arrow I'm actually going to get rid of because it doesn't really make that much sense, because we're going to have to delete everything that's in here because this is a straight platform like so. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this one across the whole thing. And you guys can see that this is starting to look pretty good. Now this is awesome because now we also have these slopes, and I think you can also do it. I actually haven't tried it, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see if we can bring these guys to the same angle as these slopes over there. So what we want to do is, of course, put them right there. Actually, what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna straight up just copy one of these ones, go down on like a very clear path so we don't have any weird things on the way, and then I'm just gonna add this slope. I'm gonna get rid of everything that we don't need, like these ones or the D block or this stuff. We're just trying to come up with the perfect slope, and we're gonna put it over there, and we're gonna test if this is gonna work. So we want to put it, I think, over there because the block is on the left bottom edge, so we gotta use the left side. And now if we drag it up, you guys are gonna see that it works pretty fine, but there we should do it one more time because the slope is actually a lot steeper like so. And as you can see, this works pretty good. I honestly did not expect that to work at all, but it does. It did work. This is only 5 objects. That's awesome. Okay, now right up, up, right up, up, right up, up. Nice. Now we want to flip it, and even if you flip it, it doesn't lose that much, it doesn't lose like the position, which is always awesome. So now we're just gonna go ahead and up, right up, up, right up, up. Nice. And okay, I'm just gonna copy and paste this again to fill in these ones, but it kind of feels like it's a bit odd. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna simply select everything over here. I just want to know where these are, so I'm just gonna quickly move them to a different layer, make them white. And now what I can do is copy this whole structure over here. It's like a rectangle. And I can copy and paste it and kind of just place it in there manually like so, like that. And then I can copy and paste it. And now remember to get rid of these guys because we don't need them, because we also copied these black lines over there as well. So this is looking great. So the only thing remaining now is to actually keep connecting these guys. And I'm actually going to get rid of this black stuff over here so that we don't have that. And we're going to select from here all the way to the bottom like that. And as you guys can see, the blocks are connecting perfectly. And you guys can see that there's a small issue because the D blocks are on the way. So we can't really know if it looks good or not. So you can select all the D blocks and go to edit object, edit group, and then extra, and then go to hide. And this way, these guys are hidden. They're still there, but they are hidden, which is exactly what we want. And now I'm just going to go ahead and actually, I don't like doing it with these blocks because they're going to be in the background anyway. So we don't want to have like some weird pixels that don't have that effect. So I just would recommend kind of filling them in manually like so. All right, this is looking great so far. So what we want to do is simply just fill in all of the remaining things, and you guys will start to see that this is slowly coming to place. It's slowly looking really, really nice, which is always awesome. So what we want to do is we want to grab this one because we haven't made this one for that steep slope. So we're going to do that real quick by doing it. So as you guys can see, we have recreated it. So right down, down. And over here, what we need is we're going to actually move all of this one like that, but it doesn't work. So we're going to do this. And now what we want to do is we want to copy this specific part that we did in here. Like this is like the straight part, which you can copy and paste over to here. And as you guys can see, this is basically connecting perfectly. I might actually change like this color to like a blending black so that we can't see it anymore, because it's kind of, it may actually make it look worse. And we're actually going to test it right now. We're going to add a color trigger, go to this plus, and then go to object and make it opacity 0. And as you guys can see, this looks much better than if I delete it. So this is with black and this is without black. But you guys can see that the arrows are kind of getting weird. I mean, this is better for the blocks, but this is worse for the, what is it called? The arrows. So I'm going to add this as a touch trigger to let myself know that, there's still something in here unfinished that I haven't done. So make sure to go back to it. And yeah, we're going to fix the arrows with that as well. And in here, there's a small issue because there's a small rectangle, but we're going to do that in a bit. It's actually a triangle, not a rectangle, but it doesn't really matter. So now there's this upper line, which we're going to do by simply deleting all of these spikes, because just keep in mind, remember that there are spikes so that you don't forget adding them again when you're done. But what I want to do is simply copy and paste this, move it up, delete all of the unnecessary stuff that you don't need, move it down like so, and this should work pretty good. And now in here, there is a small issue where this one just doesn't really connect that much. And you could do is, I'm going to come up with a kind of lazy solution over here. And the reason for that being is that, well, first of all, I'm going to delete like these extra D blocks because we have actually copied them from here and they were already D blocks, so we just got rid of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, okay, so there's a lot of overlapping issues. So we're going to first get rid of those. We're going to fix the overlapping by going into here, going to there, and getting rid of all of this stuff. And somehow we're going to have to connect this. And the first thing we want to do is actually change the structure of this. So this is how it's going to be now, so that it perfectly fits with this slope. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of this into a group ID. And once you reach here, I'm just going to move it up by 10 blocks. So by that, so 1 block, 10 units in the move trigger. This way we have the same gameplay as previous, but we have connected them. So that is like a very sneaky way to fix it. Now what you have to keep in mind is that when this gets moved up, so this is how it's going to be. It's going to be on that specific line. So we're going to have to connect these guys on the layer above. So what we're going to do, actually, we can't really do that because these slopes are a bit weird the way they work. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually connect them right there. And then what we could do is simply move it up, and then we can move it down again to fit with the gameplay perfectly. So now we're going to copy these ones because we have made a slope using these blocks, and it's not really a slope, but when you put them behind, it kind of looks like a slope. It actually doesn't kind of look like it. It does absolutely look like a slope, which is perfect. Exactly what we want. So now something like that would work pretty nice. Okay, now there's a bit of an issue with the overlapping, but we can fix that by making these guys go to the layer that is below. So select these guys, go to here and do that, this, and just fill in the rest of these guys. And as you guys can see, the layering is absolutely terrible. So what we're gonna do, select every single one of them, move them to B2 maybe. Yes, the B2 works, so keep it on B2. So now we're gonna select all of this. Actually, it doesn't matter if you select like the triggers or anything. We just want to make sure that this one is aligned in here perfectly. So maybe something like that. Yes, that is clean. And with that, we can just bring these guys to whatever we want. And the triggers, actually, I'm going to move them up now because, like I said, triggers have to be put in a place where there are no objects, so that if you want to control them, you can go back and do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to yoink this one and put it over there. And this is a lot of objects, like 78 objects is a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of optimizing, and I'm going to use this slope where this one, like a very plain slope. I'm going to paste the color and the state, and we're just going to make it a lot bigger. And as you guys can see, we're going to make this in the background, and this looks exactly the same. The only difference is that this one uses a lot fewer objects. We're going to copy that one as well, and boom, nice. I'm so excited about that one, and I'm actually going to do it up there as well. Instead of 130 objects, what we can use is only six objects times 2, which is, yeah, it's nothing. And as you guys can see in here, there are also like 154. So I'm going to copy this one, make it really big. This is just optimizations right now. We're doing that like on the way. I'd like to optimize this level when I'm done as well. But yeah, for now, I think this works perfectly like that. We want to move these guys. And as you guys can see, we only have 12 objects in this whole mess, which is simply just perfect. So copy these 12 objects, put them up there, put these guys right there, and we're going to yank that one, put it in there, and clean. This is looking excellent so far. So, like I said, we can't forget what we promised, is that actually the hitbox is so massive, it's actually going to get selected, but it doesn't really matter. So, what we're going to do is, actually, should I do it now? Or, actually, I'm going to do it later, because we're going to add, like, spikes and so, and I don't want to, like, keep updating, like, the group IDs of these newly added objects. So I'm just going to add everything, and at the end, we can go ahead and, add the move trigger and add the group IDs. So this is clean looking so far, and we're going to start to see how it looks. And as you guys can see, this looks very, very, very clean. And this one looks a bit weird, but it doesn't really matter. So now one thing to keep in mind when you scale objects, and now you may say, why didn't I just do something like this and then just make it really big so that I can place it in here using only 2 objects? That's great, right? Well, if you scale objects up too much, what's going to happen is that they're going to disappear if you're not too close to them. So if we scale this up like a lot, and let's say we put it up here, then this block is going to start being rendered when you reach like over here or so, because this is where the block is, but it's visible over there. So that's doesn't really work. And if you go to here and increase scale, you're actually going to see a note that objects larger than 6x grid size may disappear near the screen edge. This may be fixed in the future, and we are not in the future yet, so it's better to not do that so that RobTop doesn't see like some objects disappearing and be like, haha, this is why this level is not going to be featured. Leave RobTop no option to say why this level should not be featured. Just give him all he wants so that he is fully satisfied. This way you are guaranteed a star rate. And now, of course, we can't forget the lovely particles. Particles make levels look fantastic, so we can't forget about using them. So this is a 3 particle, like a 3 blocked particle, which is why I'm copying it like so. And it actually did fit perfectly. So copy and paste, bring it over up there and move it down slightly, and like that. Actually, this one I'm going to move a bit, do that, a bit more particles, and should be clean as flippin' heck. So we're going to do here is there are actually multiple ways to do this, but the way we're going to use, okay, let me show you the ways first. So what you can do is, because this slope is kind of like tilted, what you can do is you can do the same thing as warping it like that. And then what it will do is the particles will actually be also kind of like warped so that they emit towards the same, structural angle, so that they all face up the whole time. And this doesn't look that great, but it does fulfill like the mathematical desires that this wants. But we don't want any mathematical boring stuff, so we want these guys to go up like so. And you guys will see that you can't really copy and paste it over here, because and if you rotate it, they are kind of going like that, but we want them to always go up. Now you could make them go like that if you think yours would fit cool, and now that I'm seeing it, it kind of looks cool. But let me do this slope over here, make them go up normally, and we're gonna see how it's gonna look like. So first thing is we're gonna yoink that one, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the pulse var really low. We're gonna bring the max particles to really low, maybe like 2 or something, and that should emit very few particles. And this way you guys can see that we can place them around here and then copy and paste, and then select these guys, copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste. And this way you have particles that are kind of going up, and if you want more you can just select all of those particles and just add, like, maybe make it 3 and calc, and this way you guys can see that it just looks a bit better. If we do 4 even, you're gonna see a bit more effect. So you guys can decide which one you want to go for. It isn't really that much of a difference because you're going through this part really fast, but I just like to keep things perfect. And now just stare at the part, see if it fits it or not. And I kind of feel like the one on the right fits it more, even though it shouldn't, but it does fit. Look like it is right. So 3 ways to do that particle, and we landed on the last way, the second way actually, which is to basically have these guys go from the surface to the outside of the surface using the same angle as that specific surface. That is very a lot of surfaces, but this way now we have particles that we can just, you know, yoink over here and just put them over there on top of these slopes, and they should be working pretty fine. So, like I said, I'm just going to copy and paste them, and if you want to see the particles, just F4 on your keyboard, or on here in the settings, there's hide particle icons. You just disable that, and you should see the particle icons. So now like that, we're actually going to move this one like so that you can, there's more space for the particle, like that. And this is actually kind of starting to look pretty nice, I must say. So like that, and we're also going to copy one more for this specific part, copy and put it in here, and one more like that. And what we're gonna do in here is we're just gonna make it kind of like slopey, like a very, you know, like so that it's like a very massive distance, because the slope is very steep. And yeah, it is actually looking not bad. I'm happy that I chose that specific way of doing the particles as opposed to any other. And we're gonna just yoink these guys, and because it's like a slope, and you guys can see it perfectly matches this one. And now we can copy these guys, move them over there, and perfect, clean, very nice work. Now we have particles, almost. We actually just need to fill, actually there's no need anymore. Actually, I'm gonna do that anyway, because otherwise it's gonna look a bit weird. So I'm gonna copy this particle over there, put it in here, and then kind of make it like a pulse var of 15, maybe 7 particles, and like that we have particles emitting from those sides as well. And copy and paste and put it on here, on there, and there was another one over there, sure. And now what we want to do, you know, rotate like that. And the final one is in here. We forgot about that one, but it doesn't really matter because we can just make a very large pulse var. This way it is, you know, covering the whole area. Disable that to see the beautiful work that you have done. And now we're actually going to go to this object color that we mentioned earlier that we can do now. So what we want to do is we want to actually just apply this effect, remove touch trigger, so that it actually applies. And as you guys can see now, the outer layer, the black, is going to go away. But this creates a bit of issues in here, and we're actually just going to go to that layer of these objects, click on here, and then over there, objects. So this way it only selects the objects that have the color channel of object, right? And this way, if we copy them, we can just make them a 4. You can just make them a 4, and this way they are black. And as you guys can see, they look much, much cleaner. So nice, we are doing some excellent progress so far, and I'm actually thinking of just starting to add the spikes. And we're just gonna, what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy from here. We're gonna copy from here. I think that is a perfect spot, and then we can just actually wait. So okay, let me see. So what I want to do is I want to put these guys right over there. I want them to be kind of on top of these guys, but kind of behind the glow. So that doesn't really work, and that is because these guys should be even one layer below. So we're going to select here and then put 4. So select all objects that are on the color channel of 4, which in this case are only these weird slopes. And I just realized that we have forgotten to fill the slopes in here, which is something that we're going to do in a bit. But for now, okay, so we also selected these objects, which is not good. So what I'm thinking of doing is just going to that layer, locking it, and this way you will no longer be able to select it. As you guys can see, the more you learn, the better it will be. The better and easier you'll be able to fix your issues, which is great because fixing issues is something that you're going to have to do a lot when it comes to GD, and these guys just won't go behind it for some reason. So I'm just going to keep bringing these guys down to a lower layer than they currently are. Maybe B4 even should work, and now if these guys are on B3 or even B2, this should look clean. So I could either use these guys or I could use the spikes that I used in there, and the way to know which one is the best is to simply use both and see which one of these guys looks better. And I kind of, yeah, I'm actually, this is a hard decision, but I kind of like the first one more. It's kind of like more obvious that it's a spike, and we're gonna select them and kind of move them up a little bit like that. Nice. And we're gonna move them down so that we can copy and paste them in here like that. Copy and paste again, and we're gonna copy and paste them until over here like so. And now copy and paste, move them up like that, and yeah, you have a spiky part. And don't forget to also add the actual spike and put that on a invisible color. And the reason why I'm using this spike is because this is a very spammy part, so you can't really, you're gonna have some small hitboxes, otherwise some people are gonna rage. So we don't want that. Great. Now we have done a pretty good progress on this part. I'm just gonna go ahead and before I forget, I'm gonna go ahead and copy these slopes, because otherwise it's gonna look like it's a bit out of place, which is not what we want. Just like I told you guys, if you add a massive design with a lot of layers, you're gonna eventually just forget that these layers exist. So it's always important to just go through the layers and see if you have missed any of your detail to add it on the newer blocks or anything like that. So we're gonna copy it over there. It looks fantastic, and then we're gonna delete everything that is in here. And as you guys can see, this is looking pretty good. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the arrows. It is time for the arrows, but we have locked it, so I'm just gonna manually go to the layer which you can see over here, and the 17, we want to unlock it, and then select these guys, make them a check group ID of 55, move them down by 50 using this one. And we're gonna do the same for all of these guys. Give it a new group ID, move it down by 50, new group ID, move it down by 50. And these guys, we're gonna give them a new group ID, but move them upwards by 50. And we're gonna move these guys downwards. You guys have guessed it, probably. And we're gonna do that. So color, not color, but ID, group ID 55, we're gonna move up by 50. And we're gonna do that on a back out. We're gonna see if that one's gonna look cool. And if we start in here, you guys are gonna see that the arrow is gonna come. And now we're gonna add another one, make it like a bit farther, this one like that. And then another one, and 57. And 58 is actually going to be a bit after it, but it's going to go down. And this one should go from here a bit like that. And with that, we have clean looking arrows, but I kind of feel like they are a bit too early. So maybe something like this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe the distance is a bit weird. I'm just going to align them on the X, even though that doesn't really make that much sense. I think it works. I think this works pretty fine. Maybe that's a bit too fast. And I'm also kind of thinking of changing the... Maybe changing the... I don't know if that makes sense, but... let me see. Is there any better looking... yeah, I think this one looks funky. It is pretty cool. Fits with the song perfectly. So boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I kind of feel like these ones should be a bit later so that you can kind of see the effects before... yeah, like that. Looks pretty clean. All right, nice. So we have done a small effect over here, which isn't something major, but you guys can see that we have to add this one. And this is a problem because, as you guys can see, this block is actually not a slope. It's like kind of like a, how do you call this shape? Like a parallelogram or something? I don't really know. So you can't really fit it in here. It doesn't really work. And by the way, I'm clicking on F3, and this disables and enables the preview mode. Preview mode over here you can do on the phone, and this basically just does something with the game that kind of makes you see almost all invisible things. and this way you can also see, you cannot see any colors. And yeah, this is sometimes great to kind of see these guys, and we want to delete them. The reason for that being, we can't really use that slope. This structure just doesn't make any sense. So if you just so happen to have a structure in your level that just doesn't make that much sense, if you kind of add your design into it, just remove it and come up with another solution. And as you guys remember, we made saw blades for a reason, right? We're going to move this saw blade all the way to here, and we're going to move it to the right, and down we go. And we're going to add the saw blade somewhere over here. I'm actually going to go a bit tighter on the coin, because a coin should be a bit harder than that to get. Yeah, maybe something like that should work pretty good. And with that, we have added a lot of cool stuff, which is awesome. So we're gonna add effects to this later as well, of course, but for now, does it feel like it's kind of empty? Yes, it does, and that's because obviously we haven't added that much stuff, but don't worry, we're gonna do that in the next episode.